It's day 2 of autumn, and we have some field work that we need to get done today. Plus, we also have some grass that should be ready for mowing, and we can take a look and see how our final crops are coming along. Hello again, I am Jim Bob, and welcome back to Seasons in the Valley. So, obviously we've just grabbed our eggs, as we do every morning. Let's take a look at our crops that are remaining. So, we have our soybean crop up here, and we have our corn crop up here. Let's see, have they finished growing yet? No, they are still in their final stage of growth. And we do know that we have some grass down here that is going to be pretty much ready for cutting. And if we take a look at our fertilization, you can see we can actually hopefully apply the final stage of fertilization to field 62 here as well, get that one back up and running. But we also, having cleared these fields, we can now plough out field 51, join it into field 52, and get that up and running as a brand new field. Now, I'm kind of toying with the idea of maybe removing just a few of the trees along here. So let's take a drive down there and see just how much work would be involved in that. So I'll take the T7 for this. Let's get some lights on so we can see where we're going. Because I think, we could remove a couple of lines of trees and maybe make that corner piece a little bit bigger. But that is something that we could possibly do in the winter. It's not something that we have to do right now. So here's the remnants of our cornfield, our wheat field. You can see all the sort of stubble on the bottom here. And I think we've got enough here that we can actually remove a good section of this before we have to turn back. There's a lot of trees here, actually. There's an awful lot of trees here. A lot more than I thought we would have to get rid of, and it looks like we've got one awkward tree as well, perhaps. Yeah, we've got one oak tree by the look of it that could be a little bit trickier. As we're still in early autumn, you can see that the leaves haven't started browning yet. That'll probably happen tomorrow when we move into mid-autumn. So we still have greenery around here at the moment. Same with these bushes. But I think we could probably get away with removing, let's see, how many would we have to get rid of? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Another oak. Maybe 13 or 14 of these fir trees. And 3 oak trees. But then we could kind of cut across at this point here and extend our border out a little bit. That's a lot of work. I don't think we're going to have time to get all that done today and achieve our other stuff. So I think what we'll do is we'll plough out this bit of land here and we'll connect it up to this field just here along that sort of join line and down there as well. And then in the winter we can come and we can actually remove these trees and add an extension to this field so that when we replant this field in spring, we can actually go ahead and plant a bit of an extra large section. I think that's what we'll do. So let's head back to the farm. Let's go get a plough so that we can work this section down here and join it in, and then plough out this field here, and then once that is done, then we'll fertilize our little grass field, give it that final third stage of fertilization, and I think we should be good to actually do some more mowing today as well. The weather is still looking like it's going to hold up, so that's going to be our main primary task, I think, is to make sure that we actually do get that mowing done today, because we don't have any crops that need to be done. They're still growing, and we do have wet weather forecast for the next couple of days as well. We've got one good day coming up and that might be the only day that we can do our harvest, depending on when the rain falls. So I want to kind of earmark day 5 for harvesting our soybean and our corn. Just plonk that just there. So yeah, I want to earmark day 5 for harvesting the soybean and corn, so that hopefully, you know, if we do have bad weather on those other days, at least we've got one predicted good day where we can get that harvest done. And then I suppose we'll see what happens, what else we can do on those other days. Maybe we'll have stuff that we can get sold, or maybe we can do some prep work somewhere else. Let's just grab our weight. There we go. So let's make our way back over to the field and start ploughing. So I'm going to start on this edge here, just to give me my defined edge of where this field is. Hopefully, oops, that's the weight. Hopefully we're not going to run into the "you do not own this field" issue working along this edge here. We shouldn't do, but you never know. There we go. And once I've got this defined edge, then I can run along the bottom, define the edge along there, and same at the top as well, define the edge along there, and then that'll make it much easier to actually join those two fields together. You know, 51 and 52 in a proper sense. Get a real idea of where those fields start and finish, and get a nice natural looking join. So we have some good news on this map. We have a major update coming to the map from Black Sheep Modding. It was announced a few days ago, and we're getting a lot of bug fixes and you know, little issues, niggling issues on the farm that are going to be cleared up as a result of some of those fixes. If you remember, I found that traffic that was floating in the air. I think that part is one of the things that's going to get fixed. It does mention it's going to be fixing traffic issues, so I think that's going to be one of those things. We may see some other changes to the traffic as well. We are getting 2 new sell points on the map, one of which I think is going to be a grain sell point at the garden centre in the middle of Villeneuve, and the other one is going to be a root crop sell point, and I'm not entirely sure where that's going to be yet, but it does look, you know, pretty nice from the screenshots and images provided from Black Sheep. There is a video on the Black Sheep YouTube channel. If you haven't seen that yet, I do advise checking it out. It is you know, a pretty short little video, but it'll just show you, you know, some of the changes that are coming. We also are getting some other interesting changes as well. All the grass fields that currently have a fence around them, those fences are going to be removable. You're going to be able to toggle those up or down into the ground. So in theory, we should be able to join our grass fields into other fields if we want to now. We aren't going to be separated by that fence line, which is going to be really good for linking up certain fields that just seem to be a little bit weirdly placed and prevent you from creating a really nice flowing field. Now some of those are going to be, hopefully, you know, much easier to link into our existing land network. We're also going to be getting a safety barrier up in the bale shed, which will be retractable, so you can have that up or down, stop you driving off the edge, and that could be could be a good thing. I've come a little bit close on occasion to you know, accidentally dropping my wheel loader, sorry, my telehandler off the edge of that barn loft up there. So that's going to be quite a welcome addition. The silo at the farm is getting a major upgrade as well. It currently holds, I think, 800,000 litres, if I remember rightly, and that's going to be increased all the way up to 2 million, I think. Yeah, a 2 million litre capacity, which is huge, absolutely massive. You know, that is very big indeed. Now, I'm not entirely sure if that's going to be all dumped at one single silo, or if maybe we'll be getting additional silos placed at the other farms. I think it's just going to be a reworking of the silo that we have here at this farm, which will give us a 2 million litre capacity. But I guess we'll have to wait and see to be exactly sure on that. The biogas ramp is going to be removable. Currently it's permanently fixed up, but that will now be, have the option to lower that down if you want to. So there's all sorts of changes that are going to be coming to this map. Some new scenic placements, new sort of little scene pieces to help add a little bit more life around other parts of the map that maybe are a little bit less developed than others in terms of scenic additions. There's all sorts of stuff coming to this map. I'm not entirely sure when that's going to happen. No date has been suggested or provided from Black Sheep yet, but I would imagine we're going to get that pretty soon. So yeah, looking forward to that. That's going to be great to be able to get all those changes to this map. And of course, I asked the question last time out, what do you want us to do about the nuggets? We since then have had a viewer poll on my Facebook page. So that poll is still running for another couple of days. If you haven't had your vote already, please do head over there. I'll put the link to that poll in the description of this video. So make sure you click on that. Head over to my Facebook page and cast your vote as to whether or not we collect the nuggets. If you have any questions or suggestions that you want to post, you can also obviously either do that in the comments of this video, or you can do it in the on my Facebook page. I do listen to all your comments. I do read them all. So as I say, if you do have questions that you want to ask, please do feel free, and I will do my best to respond to those for you. Right, so this is where it could get a little bit tricky. Trying to join up here, I have to completely rework this angle here. You can see where this field currently stops and starts. There is a temptation to maybe remove a little piece off the edge of this field, but for now, if I plonk this down here, try and draw across a slight angle, and try and link in with the existing field, like so. There we go. Excellent stuff. So obviously we're going to have a bit of a disparity now between our fields, where one field is ploughed and the other one isn't. So what I'm going to do is next year in autumn, hopefully we'll be in a position to buy that field there as well, field 50, and we'll have to do this all over again. And when that happens, we'll actually plough all 3 fields at the same time, so it kind of levels out that field in terms of its plough state. But for now, we're just going to plough this field that is new and needs the plough state. We're covered for 3 harvests in total on field 52. We've had 1, so yeah, we've got plenty of time before it's going to need to be ploughed again. That's not a major issue, but like I say, I do hopefully intend to add that field there, field 50, into our sort of working land area next year if I get the opportunity. So rather than ploughing field 51 and 52 at the same time this year and then have to do it again next year, because otherwise we'll have the same issue of the field having the staggered plough states, we'll just plough this field here, field 51, and then next year we'll plough fields 50, 51 and 52. Alright, last pass to link these fields together. There we go. And don't forget, this isn't my only Seasons farm. I have 3 Seasons farms running now, each one with its own unique differences and variations. So obviously this is the original Seasons farm. This is Seasons in the Valley. This is a 6-day season with the standard Seasons Geo. This is the one where we've been kind of figuring out seasons as we go, and it's the furthest along in terms of, you know, what season and what month we're in. We're well into autumn now on this farm. Then we have Seasons enabled American Midwest. Now that is on Houdat Houdet Ranch, and that is taking an existing farm and transferring that onto a Seasons file. So we basically enabled Seasons on a pre-existing farm and also on a map that isn't fully enabled with Seasons. So there's some differences with that one. We're running the Midwest Geo, so the weather climate is different on that map. We also have a lot of animals on that map. You know, that farm already had substantial numbers of cows and pigs, so we get to see animal interaction with Seasons very early in that, you know, straight away, effectively, on that farm. Now that the Seasons, you know, switchover has been made. And then there's Deutz Farm, where we relocated Deutz Farm over to Gerala, and we're running on a 9-day season there. And the time will always be at ×5. There'll never be any slowing down of time or speeding up of time on that one while we're working. And we'll even be putting contract work, when we do contract work, on ×5 as well. And that farm is running the Wales Geo, so a very different climate again. That one is very, very wet, and I think that could be quite tricky when it comes to autumn, and we have a lot of harvesting to do and not great weather to do it. So each farm has its own unique twists and quirks. Each one has its own unique climate. So please do, if you haven't already checked out some of my other farms, please do check those ones out. And of course, every Sunday we take our once-a-week trip over to Mustang Valley for Big Bud Farm. We're working hard to make progress on the quest to own all fields legitimately on a hard playthrough on Mustang Valley. You know, yesterday we hit the BGA and we sold an awful lot of silage, and that's put us a lot closer to the money that we need to buy field 2. You know, next week will be, or later this week, depending on how you want to look at it, we'll be hitting up and our fields and doing some harvesting. A lot of soybean to harvest, a lot of sugar beets to harvest and put into storage as well. And if we can get a good price on our crops, then it shouldn't be too long before we own field 2. And once we own field 2, the march towards field 4 shouldn't take that long. So please do check out Big Bud Farm as well. So we're pretty much done with this field here, as you can see. Just got this tiny little strip. Oh, slightly offline there. Just correct that, there we go. Yeah, just got this final strip to do, and then this field is done and linked into our other field there as well. That's excellent stuff. So this is now effectively kind of ready for us to do something with. And I'm going to plant some oilseed radish on this field, put a cover crop in, so that we can, you know, try and get that first stage of fertilization in over winter. There we go. So we're going to take the plough back. I'm going to get the seeder. We're going to get that hooked up, and we'll hire a worker to start seeding this field for us. And then once that's done, you know, or while that's being done, we will go off and we'll do some more mowing, try and make some more bales. We've got a couple of fields that we can get in and attack. Plus we also need to fertilise that field just there, don't we? Let's just see if this is actually ready to accept another stage of fertiliser. And I'm not sure actually. I think we can probably put another stage on that. It doesn't look dark enough to not accept fertiliser. So I think we'll actually be able to weed that and put that final stage on there that we need as well. But first things first, let's clean up this plough and drop that off. And I'm going to get rid of our little T5 as well. It's served us well, but with the financial position we're in right now and the fact that we are going to need to, you know, oops, I'm in the wrong box. That's the engineering bay. I want the wash bay, which is next door. There we go. Yeah, with the money that we'll get from the T5, that'll go towards, you know, getting a second T7. But even so, even getting rid of the T5, it's still not going to work for us. We're still going to be a little bit, you know, too short on cash at this stage. Obviously, if we go for nuggets, that'll change. But if we don't go for nuggets, then, you know, we need to reduce our expenditure a little bit. And everything that the T5 can do, our T6 can do. It's, you know, a bit bigger, it's a bit heavier, but it can have those skinny wheels. So it makes sense to remove that sort of expense from our farm. Let's go plonk this back where it needs to be. There we go. And once again, we don't need the cultivator just yet, so we'll put that away as well. There we go. Right, so let's park up the T... Oh no, we don't need to park up the T7. We need to pick up the seeder for the T7, don't we? There it is. And we need a cover crop planting. Let's make our way up through our silo. Take a little bit of a shortcut. Let's close the lid. And the worker, we're just going to set him off, get him up and running and doing what he needs to do, and then we will come back and sort of tidy up after him once we've finished our mowing. That's the most important thing right now, is getting the mowing done. There we go. So let's jump back to our T5. We'll give the T5 one last hurrah on our field. Oh, that was the other thing as well. One of the other changes that I forgot to mention. We will no longer have to pay the €1,000 charge every time we use our workshop here on the farm. That's one of the other things that is being changed in the update. The workshop is being made free, which is something that should have been done, I think, right from the very start. I'm not entirely sure why we have to pay at our own farm when we have our own workshop. I can understand it if we're going all the way out to the store, but it's not like we're bringing a mechanic out to do it for us. We're doing it ourselves. So I never understood why we had to pay from day one. But yeah, this is the last little hurrah for this little tractor, and then we'll get rid of it. Who knows? We may well bring a T5 back onto the farm in the future, but right now it's just an expense that we don't need, and it can bring us, you know, quite a bit of money back as well. So you can see we've used it for just under 9 hours, so it's served us very, very well over our first year. But it is just a little bit too small, too underpowered to be truly versatile, unfortunately. And we don't even need it to be our front loader tractor, because the T6 can have a front loader attachment fitted as well. So it serves no discernible purpose that the T6 cannot cover. Of course, we didn't start with a T6. We started with just this T5 and the T7. So at the time, it was very much something that we needed. But since we've upgraded our equipment roster and added in a T6, we kind of no longer really need the T5 anymore. We've just been separating out jobs that the T6 could do onto the T5. So I think it's time to just bite the bullet and say farewell to our little workhorse. So I'm going to use it one last time, as you can see, fertilising this field, and once this is done, we're going to take it back to the farm. We're going to do some maintenance on the tractor to get it all prepped and ready, and then we're going to go and sell it. So I will see you back at the workshop in a little while. There we go, that's the field done. So just drop our weeder off and then do a little bit of maintenance to clean this thing up, and then we're going to go and sell it. I'm kind of curious as to just how much we'll get for one of these, actually. Considering how many hours we've put onto it and whether or not the maintenance is going to remove those hours, I'm not entirely sure how that's going to work. So let's just have a quick look before we do anything else. Let's just take a quick look at how much one of these will cost brand new. So a brand new T5 on its own is 83,000 euros. Now ours has got an upgraded engine, so that would make it 92. It's got a front loader attachment, and we paid for the narrows. So 93,600 is, I think, pretty much what we paid for our T5. Now ours is currently worth, on a direct sell, 70,000. Now that may well go up if we do maintenance. It may go down. It'll definitely go up if we take it to a sell point and actually sell it physically there. But let's repair this first of all. So you can see, oh, there you can see its value 84,450. Let's do some repairs on that. It's going to cost us 79 euros to repair it, but it hasn't changed the value. But it does give us that direct sell price. You can see we've still got 8.9 hours on it, but let's see, what has that actually done? Where is our T5? Down here. I think this is telling us how long it's got to be before we've got to do vehicle maintenance, because that's now 24 days. We can see some of these other ones are at 11 days before they have to have maintenance done. I should have actually checked to see how much that would have cost me in maintenance fees per day before I actually fixed it, so that's kind of my bad. We'll check that when we do our other maintenance later in the year. So let's sell this. There we go. So bye bye T5. We remember you well, but we no longer have any need for you. Everything that we did in the T5 we can do here in this T6. You can see we've got a front loader attachment at the front there, and we can fit skinny wheels on this. It's powerful enough to run our mowers. It's easily powerful enough and heavy enough and sturdy enough to run our spraying gear. Yeah, so it just made sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pay off a little bit of our loan. Let's drop that down. There we go. We'll keep 8 grand on hand for now. The loan's down to 840. So let's pick up our mowing gear. Make our way over to the field over by the pigs and do some mowing over there. So we have a lot of equipment that we need to transfer over here every time we want to do some mowing for baling. It's unfortunate, but it is just the way it is. We need to come up with a kind of a better system, I think, for year 2 when it comes to transporting our mowing gear around. Maybe I need to think about some kind of transport truck. But there we go, we've got all of our gear moved up over here. Of course, the other alternative is to have duplicate sets of mowing equipment up and running in certain places. Just make a little bit more room. But given that we lose grass almost immediately as soon as it starts getting cut, you know, it's better to have all the equipment we need in one place rather than making long trips back and forth. And by the time we get everything we need over here, then it's, you know, we've lost potentially quite a substantial amount of the total grass harvest. So at least this way, it takes a while to get everything in position, but once it is in position, we have everything we need. So let's get in and let's do a bit of mowing. Before I do that though, I want to quickly check, how is our worker getting on? Looks like he's done a fair old chunk of that field already, look. So it shouldn't be too long before he's finished. But let's get the front mower on and lowered. Let's get the rear mower lowered and switched on. There we go, and we need to work this way around. Try and stay away from the walls if I can. Away from those fences. These are the fences that we'll be able to remove with that update. I'm just catching on there at the moment. There we go. Yeah, these fences, we'll be able to actually sort of toggle these on and off. They'll disappear into the ground. So really looking forward to that. It'll mean that we can really do quite a lot with joining certain fields together that we couldn't before. And oh, this is interesting. We can actually mow. Nope, I spoke too soon. For a moment there, I thought we were actually going to be able to mow this field, but now the front mower is not working, but the rear mower is. There we go. So maybe we just weren't quite in the right position, but it does look as though we're getting a little bit closer this time round. Although, again, yeah, seeing get that patch with the front mower. Really weird why the front mower doesn't work, but the side mower does. You would have thought, if anything, it would be the other way around. So that's a bit of an odd one. Maybe that's one of the things that'll be fixed as well with the update for the map. I hope so, because it is a really frustrating little thing when you're trying to work a field and it keeps telling you that you don't own it because you're too close to a field that, you know, you don't have ownership of. So, shouldn't take us too long to get this field mowed. Put a nice double-sized border in so I can turn around quite easily. Bit of a stretch going up this hill. It's quite a steep little slope. There we go. Right, so now we can start running across the field. I want to run here so I can try and at least get some of that grass that we missed. There we go. And again, we'll put a double border in on this edge of the field. Give us that turning arc that we need. And then from there we can just whiz across this field nice and easily. And I'm actually going to hire a worker to finish this field off for us while I go and check on our T7. So let's get this guy in position. Shouldn't take him very long to do this, and it means that we can get back to planting that oilseed radish, make sure it's all being planted in the right space. Plus, you've seen me do a lot of mowing and baling already this year. There's no need for us to do any more just yet on camera. So there we go, worker is away. He will continue to mow this field for us, and while he's doing that, let's take a look at the progress we've made over here. Let me get to the end and then I'll take over. There we go. So we're getting a nice good amount of cover crop into this ground here. Now I don't know whether this is going to grow before autumn ends. I kind of hope it does, so that we can then cultivate it into the ground before the ground freezes. And if it doesn't, I'm guessing, or if it does and we don't get it cultivated in time, I'm guessing it'll kill the crop from the extreme ground temperatures. I guess we'll find out. If that is the case, then it could potentially be quite expensive for us, in terms of the amount of time and money that we spent prepping this field, if we then can't get it sort of cultivated in time. But there's every opportunity, or every possibility, that this won't actually grow before winter sets, in which case it'll probably just sit there over winter in the ground and then actually properly germinate in the spring. But I think it's great that Seasons really does give you a reason for cover crop, because in the game, I mean, unless you're kind of doing an au naturel planting cycle, it doesn't really seem to have that much of a purpose. I mean, it's a nice idea, but not that many people tend to use it. From my own sort of interactions with other players, not that many people tend to bother with a cover crop in normal farming simulator. So this would be quite, it's quite a useful thing to have in Seasons. It actually has a purpose. It gives you a reason to do some late planting, like we're doing, so that the following year, you're saving money on your fertilizing costs for whatever you are going to be growing as your main crop that year. I really like that. Right, so he can easily get along and finish the rest of this field off. That's no problem at all. But what I want to do is, obviously we're going to have to take back over from the mow as soon as it's done mowing, so we can't stay here forever. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this opportunity to actually fill in the bits that our worker hasn't done over here. So you can see we've got this strip here that hasn't been done, and obviously in spring hopefully we'll be able to add that section there, sort of going up to that hedgerow. That'll all be added in as well. And then we've got this corner section here as well, and it looks like there's stuff, yeah, on that bit there, which I was expecting as well. So he's done a pretty good job actually, by the look of it. I thought there'd be some more issues than this, but he's done a really, really good job. I'm quite impressed. There we go. We'll just tag that last little bit there. We may possibly have an issue at the top of the field, but I'll check that out. Just move along here. Yeah, you see as well, with these fences here, obviously we've got this separation of fields. What we could do, once the update comes, is we can actually remove... Oh, I need to actually turn this seeder on, don't I? That might help. We can actually remove those hedges or those fences. Now, I don't know if we can toggle individual fences off, or if we can only toggle all fences all on or off. It'll be interesting to see whether or not we get individual hedge toggle or fence toggle on these fields. But assuming that we can do them individually, we could remove these fences here and we could combine our sort of custom created field there, which was originally a grass field, we could combine that into this field here, into field 52, and we could even combine it into the two other fields that we have just over there. You know, our what was our canola field, we could combine it into that as well. So I'm really looking forward to this update, because I think it does open up all sorts of potential possibilities for how we can change the landscape. And if it means we only have one massive field, then we only have one massive field. But oh, there we go, worker has finished, so our mowing is done. We're going to get this worker back on this section here. We'll have to finish tidying up afterwards. We need to get back and make sure that the mowing work is done and dusted. We've actually got, as you can see, a little bit of grass left that needs to be done, so we'll quickly finish this off, and then we'll switch over to our windrower, get it all rowed up, bale it up, and then wrap those bales. We'll probably leave the bales on the field and then come back and collect them at a later time and take them directly to the BGA. No point having them lurking around the farm this time. Next year I want to get into some actual sort of loose silage. It is going to pay more, but it's going to be a lot more involved, and really we need kind of big yields of grass as well. This year obviously we've got some fields that we've been able to get a double cut on, and we've got another one that we probably won't be able to get a double cut on. So next year all of our grass fields will be able to get a double cut on, and hopefully, you know, if we end up doing the nuggets, we'll have more land that we can actually work with for silage as well. So yeah, we'll do some loose silage for income next year. This year obviously we're just sticking with bales and get that fixed income. We're not earning as much as we possibly could do if it was loose. Obviously these fixed price bales aren't fantastic for their value, but they're consistent, and of course we're getting a little bit of digestate as well, so we could even look at maybe getting like a slurry spreader next year and using that for some free fertilizer on one, or at least one of our fields from the digestate that we have. We'll have to check once we've shredded the next set of bales just how much digestate we've actually got at the BGA. But I'm going to get this field rowed, then baled, then wrapped, and then from there we'll finish off the work we need to do on field 50. Sorry, not 50, sorry, field 51 and 52. There we go, it's been nice and straightforward and easy getting this field rowed. You see actually we missed a thin strip of grass there, but never mind. And there we go. Right, so our rowing is done. Let's go drop this. Oh, we've got that little bit over there, haven't we? I always forget that little patch just over there. So we get this little bit done here. This shouldn't take us more than a couple of seconds. There we go. Beautiful. Right, we are done with this field. So we can drop this off, we can grab our baler. We are going to have to make use of the T6. It is underpowered really for this particular baler. Obviously being a larger capacity baler, it is, you know, a lot hungrier on the power requirements than a traditional baler, but it does give us those 4,500 litre bales. In fact, actually, there's something I want to try. This is going to be a little bit unconventional, but I'm going to not use that baler. I'm going to lease a different baler and try. So we still have these balers here. I'm going to lease one of these. It's going to cost us, what, 6 grand. This is expensive, but this is all for a test. So I should have done this first, actually. We're going to go grab that baler, which means we're going to have to be a little bit naughty and speed through here. I like to try and stick to the same speed as the traffic where possible, but you know, time is pressing. We need to get back to those rows quickly before they start to rot too much. We're going to go grab that other baler, and we're going to wrap 4,000 litre bales, and then we're going to see if there is a difference in price between wrapped 4,000 litre bales and wrapped 4,500 litre bales. I want to see whether or not we're getting a fixed price for a bale of silage regardless of size, or whether we're just getting a fixed price based on size. Because I think that could be quite important. If that is the case, then when it comes to doing silage wrapping, we are not going to want to use a 4,500 litre baler going forward. If that is the case, we're going to want to use a smaller capacity baler so that we can make more bales and therefore make more money. So it might well be that we end up owning one of these balers next year as well. I mean, obviously for storing bales, then you want to use the larger capacity baler, because that's going to give you, more product before you hit the bale limit. If you have a limit of, say, 200 bales, then obviously it's 200 bales is 200 bales, but if those bales are 4,500 litres over 4,000 litres, that's quite a substantial extra amount of product that you're saving in storage in baled form when you hit that full 200 bale capacity. And likewise with the silage selling, if you've got 200 silage bales to sell and those bales are 4,000 litres and the other ones are 4,500 litres, but the price per bale is exactly the same regardless of their size, then you're losing a substantial amount of money if you're only using 4,500 litre bales. So yeah, this is actually going to be quite a good and useful experiment to see just how much difference there's going to be. It's a pricey experiment because we're having to pay over 6 grand to lease this baler, but I think it is something that we really should do. So let's unfold this baler, and I'm not going to do all of these bales with this baler. I'm actually going to switch and do 1 or 2 bales with the other baler, so we've got a direct comparison. Right now I just want to get these bales done, so I'm going to whiz around the field with this single axle, get all of these bales made. We'll come back with a little bit of grass left and we'll do a bale on the other baler. Actually no, we don't need to do that. I can just go back and I can look at the footage, see how much money we made per bale. It was 900 and something. It was less than I thought it was going to be. But yeah, we'll just do everything with this baler, and then we'll just refer to how much we made on the other bales. I think it was 921 euros per bale, which was less than I was expecting. So I will see you once this baling is complete. Okay, there we go. So the baling is done. We need to wrap these bales nice and quickly, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hang on to this baler because I want to see if we are going to get more money by wrapping smaller bales and selling them at the same price as the larger bales. So we'll hang on to the baler. We're not going to return it until the end of autumn, because we do have more fields that need to be mowed, but I'm not going to mow them and bale them and wrap them until I know how much these 4,500 or 4,000 litre bales are worth. So, once we know the value of 4,000 litre bales, if it is exactly the same as the 4,500 litre bales, then we will bale the remaining grass from this year using the smaller baler. If it is less than the 4,500 litre bales, then we'll just return it at that point, and we'll do our baling with the 4,500 litre baler as before. So I'm going to continue wrapping this field, get all of these bales wrapped up, and then we'll head back to the farm with our equipment and go check up on the status of field 5152. Okay, this is the final bale. You can see we've actually got quite a lot of them. That's the other thing. When you're using a smaller baler, you end up making a lot more bales. So we're definitely going to have quite a few to collect. Right, so the baling is done. The wrapping is done. It's time to start transporting all of this stuff back to the farm and then check in on the state of our planting of oilseed radish. Okay, so all of our seeding is now complete. There wasn't a huge amount of work for us left to do on 52, 51. It was all pretty much done, just a couple of rough edges that the worker couldn't manage to tidy up. And it took me about a minute or so to quickly do that. All of our baling equipment and mowing equipment has been brought back and put away as well, including the least baler that we're going to hang on to until, you know, our silage bales are done and we can see whether or not we get a difference in bale price. So, as an overview, you can see now that our grain fields here, 6392 has been planted with oilseed radish, as has 5152. So those will hopefully grow before the end of autumn, and we can then cultivate those into the ground ready for planting at the beginning of spring. We have our winter barley here on field 91. We're waiting for that to grow in. We've fertilized field 62. That's still growing back. 83 is ready for mowing, as is this grass area around our cow paddock. And I believe, actually, as well, we're getting access to this half of the field with a gate of some kind as part of the upcoming update too. So that'll be quite interesting to have direct access straight onto this part rather than having to go up here, through, down and under. That'll save a little bit of time if we want to do some future mowing. You can see we've got a great demand flashing there. That's for soybean. It's going to finish in the next couple of hours, and we haven't even finished growing these yet, so we're ignoring that one. Plus the price isn't going to be very good either. But yeah, there we go. That's our field kind of lineup. So hopefully next time out we'll be able to start harvesting on these fields over here. We'll see what the weather's like, see whether or not these have finished growing. And we'll obviously be waiting for our bales here on field 93 to finish fermenting, so we can then go and sell those and see how much they're worth. Off camera, what I am going to do is go and sort of stack those and then transport them over to the BGA and have them stored and stashed over here ready and waiting. And that's it for another episode. So thanks for watching. I am Jim Bob. Don't forget, if you haven't already done so, you can take part in the viewer poll for the gold nuggets. That is over on my Facebook page. Link is in the video description, so please do check that out. Head over there and cast your vote. Only a couple of days left on that poll before it automatically ends, and I will see you all again very soon.